Everything begins with a parent's worst nightmare. A father's only daughter, Minji, suddenly vanishes. Following the frantic clues to the scene, the father is met with a chilling sight: a fresh pool of blood and a discarded hair tie. It belongs to the very person who used to bully his daughter. Before he can even process the horror, a shadow lunges from the dark. A cold gun barrel presses firmly against the back of his neck. The attacker demands just one thing, his voice dripping with venom. "Where's my daughter?" The father turns slowly. Through a trembling voice, he recognizes the face behind the weapon. "Minji, is that you?" At that exact moment, the collision between two absolute monsters officially begins. To understand how they became these monsters, we have to look back to the bleeding edge of the past, 1997, in the frozen North Hamgyong province of North Korea. Director General Dai and his grim subordinates marched into a bleak orphanage. Their mission: select the most elite children and forge them into sharp, unblinking blades for the regime. Standing before a classroom of hollow-eyed orphans, Dai painted grand illusions of honor and glory. It sounded magnificent, but it was a scam to recruit disposable cannon fodder. One starving kid volunteered instantly, asking for nothing more than a full meal. Soon, innocent hands shot up across the room. But Director General Dai didn't want a crowd. He wanted the deadliest single weapon. With a cruel smirk, he issued a horrific order: rush in and fight. Last one standing wins. Within minutes, the classroom became a battlefield. When the dust settled, only one boy stood firmly amidst a pile of broken children: Dong Guan, the legendary number 66. As the officers turned to leave, a skinny, bruised boy unexpectedly crawled forward, desperately hugging Dong Guan's leg. Even after being brutally knocked down, he clung on with terrifying willpower. Intrigued by this feral survival instinct, Director General Dai claimed him too. When asked his name, the boy managed to gasp out a single word, "Kim," before fainting. This was the brutal birth of the man who would become the most renowned double agent of both regions. Hell in training. The boys were taken to a place with a beautiful name: the Special Operations Unit of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. In reality, it was a notorious assassin training camp. Here, children had their emotions systematically erased. Their only purpose was to hunt down high-ranking South Korean officials. Weakness was a death sentence. When a terrified young boy panicked over a dying bird, Director General Dai executed him on the spot. Names were stripped away, replaced by cold numbers. Years passed in this living hell. Dong Guan, number 66, rose to become the most outstanding soldier in North Korea. Watching from the shadows, Kim, number 73, allowed a fierce, desperate jealousy to fuel him, diving headfirst into training like a madman. Because in this camp, losers didn't get second chances. By the final, lethal training session, dozens of children had been whittled down to just two survivors: number 66 and number 73. Soon after, their elite unit was deployed to Gangwon province for a high-profile assassination. But the trap was already set. The South Korean intelligence had their exact movements. Explosions shattered the night sky. Teammates dropped like flies. When the smoke cleared, only number 73, Kim, survived. As he bled out, a memory flashed: the day Dong Guan had set off on a previous mission. Kim, the younger brother figure, had cried bitterly running after him. Dong Guan had simply smiled, promising, "I will definitely come back for you." Back in the present, the illusion shatters. The man holding the gun to Kim's head is that very same younger brother figure, now grown, hardened, and operating as the new number 66. He has spent years believing a lie fed to him by Director General Dai: that Kim betrayed his own blood, striking Dong Guan from behind just to steal the elite codename. Just as the tension reaches a breaking point, two agents from the South Korean Intelligence Bureau burst onto the scene. They surround Kim, urging him to surrender peacefully to avoid a bloodbath. But the moment Kim reveals that his daughter Minji has been kidnapped, the room goes silent. Recognizing the desperate rage of a father, the agents make a choice. They quietly step back, clearing a path for Kim to hunt down his daughter. But the reprieve is short-lived. Taking advantage of the distraction, the new number 66 violently snatches a weapon, instantly flipping the tables. Chaos erupts. The kindly neighbor uncle who runs the dry cleaning shop takes a bullet to the chest and collapses. Agent Sa charges forward alone to block number 66, but his raw, North Korean training is overwhelming. Sa is violently forced into a retreat, but she buys enough time for Kim and his ally, Han Soo, to break away into the night. When the dust settles, the dead neighbor uncle suddenly sits up, gasping for air. The bullet was stopped dead by his bulletproof vest. Meanwhile, Kim is bleeding out in a fleeing car, a bullet lodged deep in his hip. With no time to stop, he performs brutal, makeshift first aid on himself while Han Soo steers. Suddenly, a figure leaps into the headlights, arms spread wide. It's Jinchul. Han Soo slams on the brakes, tires burning rubber. In an instant, the high-stakes thriller veers into sharp, comedic territory as the three mismatched uncles bicker wildly in the middle of the road. Regrouped and desperate, the trio tracks down a homeless man who had been spotted using Minji's stolen phone. When the man refuses to talk, Jinchul grabs him by the collar, dragging him into a dark alley for a private chat. Terrified, the man spills everything. He found the phone in a trash can after watching a man with a neat hair bun throw it away in the dead of night. Han Soo immediately hacks the local security grid. Within seconds, they have a name: Sang Man, a ruthless enforcer for the notorious Gold-Tooth Gang. At the seaport, the Gold-Tooth Gang is riding high, drinking and bragging about a leverage play they have on a powerful figure named Chairman. They've covered up a murder committed by the chairman's daughter, Heji, and plan to use it to bleed the old man dry. But the atmosphere turns volatile when a low-level thug accidentally serves a plate of potatoes to the boss. The sight of the food triggers a violent, psychotic rage in the Gold-Tooth boss. He beats his subordinate mercilessly as traumatic memories flood back. 9 years ago, Gold-Tooth was just a low-level underling. His former boss had thrown him from a high-rise window to use him as a political sacrifice. Gold-Tooth survived the hospital, and his first act of freedom was sending that boss straight to hell. But when he seized the throne, Chairman Du mocked him ruthlessly, crushed his forces, and had his men stuff a piping hot potato into his mouth, destroying his jaw. He had lived with fake gold teeth ever since. Back in the present, the gang prepares to hide the evidence. They carry a heavy burlap sack toward a cold storage warehouse. When a security guard questions them, Gold-Tooth smiles casually. "That's right, we're disposing of a corpse." The guard laughs, thinking it's a joke. Right up until Gold-Tooth orders Sang Man to murder the guard too. 2 corpses, 1 cold storage unit. As Kim's car speeds toward the port, Jinchul spots a familiar, ominous figure standing on the bridge ahead. Is that Director Kong? Before anyone can react, the car rolls over an explosive trigger. Boom! The blast tears through the vehicle, flipping it violently across the concrete. Out of the burning wreckage crawls Han Soo, coughing up dust but absolutely furious. "Director Kong, you've really pissed me off today." Han Soo launches into a brutal martial arts frenzy against Director Kong. The fight is a spectacular, fast-paced dance of counterattacks. So intense it looks like a twisted form of affection. The brutal distraction gives Kim exactly what he needs. He hijacks Director Kang's own car and guns the engine, leaving the scene. As for Jinchul, seeing a small army of intelligence agents closing in, he sensibly raises his hands in immediate surrender. Inside the freezing darkness of the cold storage warehouse, the burlap sack moves. Minji wakes up. Her body is shivering, her head spinning from trauma. She struggles free of the sack, her small voice echoing uselessly off the vast, icy walls. At the same time, Gold-Tooth is losing his patience with his incompetent enforcers. He decides to handle the final execution photos himself. On his way into the freezer, he dials Chairman Du's assistant, bypassing the pleasantries. He plays a heavily edited audio recording that frames the chairman's daughter, Heji, for the murder and lays out his extortion terms. 2 billion won in cash, and the literal teeth of the assistant who burned his mouth years ago. Furthermore, Chairman Du must come alone. What Gold-Tooth doesn't know is that Chairman Du is already steps ahead. Having just delivered a fierce, icy slap to his daughter Heji. Not because she committed a crime, but because she tried to handle it without his permission. The chairman prepares his retaliation. He turns to his men with a chilling question. Are you certain that girl cannot come back to life? He orders a full-scale hit. He has no intention of paying. He is going to wipe the Goldtooth gang off the map. The final pieces of the puzzle lock into place at the frozen seaport. Minji is freezing to death, hugging her tiny frame to stay warm, trying not to make a sound. Outside, Kim spots the white getaway car. His eyes narrow. He follows the tire tracks, slips past the heavy security doors, and enters the facility. It is a lethal game of hide and seek. In one corridor, Kim silently and brutally dismantles the thugs guarding the entrance. In the freezer room, Goldtooth paces in the dark. Suddenly, a soft, sharp sound echoes in the silence of the locker. Goldtooth halts. His head turns slowly toward the noise. His eyes lock onto Minji like a hungry wolf cornering its prey. Kim is only rooms away, but the ice is closing in. Will a father's lethal training be enough to save his daughter before the monsters finish her off? What did you think of the intense build-up in this chapter? Should we dive straight into Kim's rescue attempt next, or follow the chaos of Chairman Do's hit squad arriving at the port? Okay guys, see you in next video. Supports us till then, take care and bye bye.